The trade offer meme is a meme in which a gentleman in a suit brings you a trade offer in which you receive something and he receives something. It's meant to invoke the same feelings that you get when watching an episode of Shark Tank, where a lot of the contestants might have a great idea, but the value for what they're giving in terms of what they should receive is a little bit skewed. Today, we're going to be taking a look at this meme and deciding whether or not it's fresh, whether or not it's normie, whether or not it's spicy, and most importantly, whether or not it passes the vibe check. I'm your host, Big Meat Media, and you're watching Meme Critique. So if you can't tell from the vertical format and the familiar font that's on the text in this meme originated on TikTok. According to KnowYourMeme.com, it was originally made using the NBA draft jingle in order to mimic you trading something for something else in November 12th. But it wasn't done by Brad Easy, the familiar face that you see on all of these trade offers, until much, much later. In fact, March of this year, 2021. Now, I don't know why Brad Easy doesn't have his own article at this point, because I recognized him immediately as the I know you're obsessed with me guy. If you don't browse TikTok, this is a meme you're probably going to be a bit happy that you missed, but I'll provide one for reference.
I know you're obsessed with me.
Now, if you're not an avid TikTok user yourself, that might have just seemed like the randomest shit I could have thrown in that part of the video, but I assure you that it's related to this meme. As an avid TikTok user myself, for research purposes, obviously, so I can make these videos, this meme was going around TikTok for like 6 weeks straight or something, but people were doing it with this face filter that would stretch out your face and kind of make it look like the old cartoony Joker or like a bike seat or something. But Brad Easy, this individual, didn't seem to be using the filter. He just had this cartoonishly goofy, long-chinned face. To this day, I'm still not 100% sure if he was using a face filter or not. It's tough to tell, but I believe that it's in this cartoony facial structure that has really given this meme the legs that it's got to run with. So here's the original image that blew up. Nothing complicated, nothing over the top, no unnecessary editing, barely even any music to go with, which is the norm on TikTok. Just one cartoonishly goofy-looking individual in an almost equally cartoonishly outlandish suit offering a trade offer that is as old as time. One receives sloppy toppy, the other receives nothing. It is truly the greatest trade offer. For my fellas at home, let me explain. You don't receive nothing. You return the eternal gratitude of the person receiving the sloppy toppy. For less than the price of a Funko Pop, you could really make his Funko Pop and then receive eternal... Now, let's just move on to whether or not it's fresh. Listen, I'm not going to waste too much time reiterating exactly what it is that makes a meme fresh. On multiple occasions, I have explained that freshness is a subjective matter, and none of these numbers really mean anything, and this whole show is stupid. But what fresh does mean in a concrete way is how it feels in your heart, right? At the moment, it is very popular, so naturally it's going to be a fresh meme. But of course, we only really take a look at relatively popular memes on this show, so it does have to go a little bit beyond that. One of the things that I really appreciate about this meme, and one of the things that I think will keep it fresh for a while, is the fact that it's very easy to manipulate. It's very easy to implement different fandoms. You have a clear format for how the meme is to be used. You have a clear image. Like, the dude doesn't even need to be there, but the fact that he's there and he's in this suit and he's got the hand gestures, it makes it so easy to stick a mustache on him or make him look like Goku or stick your cat's face on him, whoever you want to be doing the trade deal. And then the meme itself is just so straightforward. It's so easy to manipulate. You could show your mom a version of it. She could appreciate it. She could make her own version of it. Show it to your dad. Next thing you know, your dad's getting laid. He's increasing your allowance. Now you've got money to spend on more skins in Fortnite. It's an overall fantastic meme. I do think that it's going to end up losing some points down the road in this because it's a bit too easy to manipulate, but for the sake of freshness, that's definitely what's keeping it going. And the fact that it's so easy to pass these images along on Twitter, like, you don't even need the image. You can just say, I receive this, you receive that, and that makes this meme, and people understand the meme. I think it's very, very clutch in that way. So as a result, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 in freshness. I think it's very, very fresh. I don't see it getting stale as a result of the things that it's got going for it, but rather more individuals breaking it down. So congrats on that. Is it Normie? Does it have the negative aspects that will drive a meme 6 feet into the ground? Some would argue that because this is a meme that comes from TikTok, it has to inherently be Normie because of how easy it is to access TikTok, because of how many people use TikTok. But I would argue that there are so many people that are so vehemently against using TikTok. So many people who like only know the era of Vine and then never appreciated the Vine-like qualities that TikTok has, that it's become this sort of wasteland of Zoomers that have, you know, like a much edgier definition of what they accept in comedy and in humor and what they can comment and what they can say, because there's no policing stuff like there is on Reddit. You know, it's Chinese owned. There's very little moderation. But there's also just younger people as a result. Like, they're not worried about getting canceled. They don't have that kind of clout. They're not worried about getting yelled at by people who have like a moral obligation to virtue signal the fact that it's not okay to joke about this or that. Like, that's just completely absent on TikTok. And while this meme doesn't necessarily take advantage of that, it's not a particularly edgy meme. The humor doesn't skew that way. The fact that it's growing on TikTok means that it has to have some real guts to it, because on a platform where the edgiest of memes can still, like, it doesn't need to be family friendly. It didn't need to be an easy family friendly meme to make it to the top of the stack the way that it would need to be on like Reddit or iFunny or something. Instead, on TikTok, where there are no rules, this still became the thing that everybody was laughing at. But while that's good and keeps it fresh, I think simultaneously that is also what makes it Normie, because it's way too easy to manipulate. When it comes to really easy memes, they always have a split somewhere near the middle or the end of their life. And either the memes become so easy to make that they just become like a natural part of conversation almost, where fandoms and people who love video games will make their own versions of the memes, and people throw it up on Twitter, and every little knitting group on Facebook is going to have a version of it, and it gets appreciated. Or it's going to be used way too frequently and misused way too frequently that people just don't want to touch it anymore. And then it becomes only used by people who are discovering it on Facebook and people who are using it wrong, and then it still blows up, but then it sort of supernovas into a way where it's like, hey, listen, you were straightforward, so there's a million different replacements for you. And this is definitely one that feels like it's going to tilt that way. But again, I have to give it credit because it made it on TikTok where there are edgier memes and it still made it through. And I have to get it credit for not having a million Among Us versions. I don't think I've seen a single Among Us version of this meme, although I'm sure it exists. But the fact that none of them have hit my retinas, even through my research on this meme, definitely means that it hasn't gone completely Normie. So as a result, I'm going to give this thing a 7 out of 10. It's a positive score. When you're this easy of a meme to manipulate, I don't really think you can go too much higher than a 7. But I say that's a fantastic score for something that you could basically just make on your phone. Is it spicy? And, you know, this is just a real simple, straight up no. It's not very spicy. I don't think it has a tremendous potential to become spicier, but really sort of like the edgiest versions of this meme that I see are about like historical conquests and like Christianity taking over. Like, you know, obviously you don't need it to be like violent or overly political or anything, but I'm not seeing that many examples that are really taking use of the format to create something else. There aren't any anti-format versions, no satirical versions of the template. There are no versions of the template making fun of the template, right? Like, the only really interesting version that I've seen is the version with the washing machine, where it's like, I receive socks, you lose socks sort of thing. This is definitely something that can get spicier down the road, but I just don't see it going that way. I really do just see it as certain fandoms take advantage of it, make their own versions of it, and then people retweet those versions. I really don't think it's going to go much further than that. So as a result, on the scale of spiciness, it's not a very spicy meme. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. It's a bad score, but it's not a spicy meme. What do you want me to do? Does it pass the vibe check. Does it get the SumitoMedia stamp of approval? And I gotta say, I'm a little bit all over the place with this one for good reason. I mean, my usual key points to take a look at is to see whether or not that it's got some of the fandom examples that I appreciate. Does it have Evangelion examples? Absolutely, and it's got some pretty solid ones. I'm seeing memes from Dragon Ball Z. I'm seeing memes from Shrek. I'm seeing memes from Yakuza. I'm seeing memes from Half-Life 2. Like, what is there not to appreciate with this meme? But I think that in and of itself does not mean that the meme requires like higher level thinking or appreciation in order to execute on those fandoms. Rather, I think that the meme is actually so easy to manipulate that it was only just a matter of time before my favorite fandoms made their own versions of the meme. And I think that's exemplified by the fact that there are no bone-hurting juice examples. There are no examples that make fun of the format. There are no examples that make fun of the meme itself. And I think the reason for that is because the meme just doesn't have enough intricacy to it to really have any sort of appreciation for the way that the joke is executed. It's the same joke over and over again, and even if it does include some of my favorite names and some of my favorite pictures, you know, it got popular with so few examples. And I think that really speaks to sort of how universally accepted it is because it's such a simple format. But I really do think that this meme is being 100% carried by the fandoms using it to share their favorite video games and TV shows, by the artists who are throwing on different PNGs to make their own versions in order to make the joke that they want to make. But it's really just a catalyst for, you know, already funny people. The meme in and of itself is far too simple. So as a result, I'm giving it a 14 out of 20 for the vibe check, which gives it an overall score of 34 out of 50. That's a 68%. I didn't feel like it deserved a C. I really do think it's just a completely average, middle-of-the-pack meme that definitely got lifted by, you know, a lot of people being bored at home, just wanting to share some laughs, and as a result, it's got some good timing with being as completely average as it is. So big shout out to Eric Seidel, Jack Winson, Joshy's Baked, Laserpig, Paul Rohrbag, Regulator 9, and Tristan Morgan, the Cash Money meme team over on the Patreon, as well as the names of everybody that you see on the screen here. Thank you so much for your support. If you guys enjoyed this episode of Meme Critique, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of this and the other shows that I do. And I will catch you guys on whatever I end up doing next. A spisu!